According to explosive claims circulating online, Will Smith's longtime friend, described by some as a brother figure named Bilal, has begun speaking out, alleging that Will was involved in pressuring and controlling a younger associate, Bryshere, behind the scenes. These accusations suggest that Bryce was allegedly forced into situations he was uncomfortable with claims that powerful figures around him exerted influence over his personal and professional life. The allegations go even further, asserting that Will Smith and Sean Diddy Combs were key figures in shaping Bryce's trajectory, with some claiming their influence played a role in his transition away from mainstream acting. Bryshere, who previously appeared on the TV series Empire, is now reportedly working as an adult content creator, where he sells explicit videos featuring himself with other men. Those pushing this narrative allege that Bryce's shift into adult entertainment was not entirely voluntary, but rather the result of manipulation, pressure, and a loss of control over his own career choices. While none of these claims have been proven or confirmed by the individuals involved, they have fueled intense online speculation and controversy, especially given the high-profile names attached to the story. As of now, these remain unverified accusations, but they continue to spread rapidly, raising questions about power dynamics, exploitation, and what may have been happening behind closed doors in celebrity circles.
Out an interview with Will Smith grabbing Alfonso Rivera's penis, squeezing his nipple and trying to put his finger in his butt. Jada responded to the first global interview that I did with you.
That was a global interview.
Yes, it went all over the world.
It was in Arabic, I saw it.
Yeah, it's India, everywhere. I talked for 2 hours.
Okay.
And I said some pretty, what some people may think to be outrageous things, but I knew them to be true and had the evidence to show that it was true. That's when Jada responded out of anger, not out of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because for her to be a global iconic superstar, you rushed to the Breakfast Club to say, number one, that, I extorted you. There was a money shakedown. You said you didn't have all the facts. So that puts you in legal jeopardy right now. You said all the facts will come out. None of the facts came out. Now you, Will, and yourself are in legal jeopardy. Her lawyer sends me a cease and desist letter, which I had to report him to the bar. Kenneth B. Hertz, because he said I never knew Will, that I never worked for Will, and that he said he represented Willard Carroll Smith, which is Will's real name, but he was asking me to take down statements from Jada. So that's what we call in law overreaching. You cannot, if you're saying you represent Will, you can't compel me to do something against Jada,
okay,
right? So I already knew that I had him legally. So I said, okay, I got y'all. Now, once that happened, there was another interview, of course, when she came outside and reiterated that she was suing, right? And there was another interview with TMZ just after that where one of the cameramen asked Jada, hey, Jada, have you seen Will with any men before? And her answer was no. So now that's a lie too, because I put out an interview with Will Smith grabbing Alfonso Rivera's penis, squeezing his nipple and trying to put his finger in his butt. After that, they reached out to me through many people, one being Charles Austin, aka Charlie Mack, the federal informant. He reached out to me through a friend. From my understanding, allegedly, it was Will and Charlie.
At present, Bilal is reportedly locked in an ongoing legal dispute with Jada Pinkett Smith, a situation that has only intensified public attention around his statements. According to Bilal, his decision to speak out publicly came last year, around the same period when Sean Diddy Combs was facing serious legal trouble. It was during that moment, he claims, that he chose to reveal what he says are long-hidden connections between Diddy and Will Smith. Bilal alleged that these connections ran far deeper than the public ever realized, and he went as far as claiming he intended to release video footage that would prove Will Smith was secretly living a double life. According to Bilal, this alleged footage would contradict Will's carefully maintained public image and expose private behavior that had allegedly been kept hidden for years. Bilal has emphasized that his claim should be taken seriously because of his proximity to Will Smith at the time. He wasn't just a close friend, he says, but also served as Will's former assistant, which placed him in situations where he claims to have witnessed deeply personal moments. One of his most shocking allegations involves Dwayne Martin, whom Bilal says was involved in an intimate encounter with Will Smith. According to Bilal's account, he walked into a room and allegedly saw Will Smith and Dwayne Martin in a compromising situation. He has described the moment as unmistakably intimate, insisting that what he witnessed left no room for misunderstanding. These claims, he argues, are part of the reason he believes the public has been deliberately shielded from the truth for years. It is important to note that none of these allegations have been verified, and all individuals mentioned have either denied the claims or declined to comment. As it stands, these are serious accusations based solely on Bilal's statements, but they continue to circulate widely online, fueling speculation, controversy, and renewed scrutiny of Hollywood's power dynamics and private relationships.
And then I saw sexual acts that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin.
Okay.
Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game. So 3 minutes later, after them telling me, hey, you got eyes on Will, we need him to come watch this. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, but I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy at? So now I'm holding Dwayne down too, so I have the keys to his dressing room. So I'm like, yo, and they're calling I'm on walkie-talkie and they're calling my cell phone. Yo, we need to get Will here. And I'm like, yo, kind of fuck down. Like, I'm trying to find this. Like, this is unlike him, right? So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Murder. There was murder in there.
Following the accusations, Jada Pinkett Smith reportedly moved quickly to shut them down, privately and publicly telling people around her that the claims were completely false. According to those familiar with the situation, Jada made it clear that she viewed the allegations as outright lies and refused to give them any legitimacy. Will Smith also firmly denied the accusations, pushing back against the narrative that was beginning to spread online. Notably, this marked the first time Will had ever directly addressed rumors connecting him to Sean Diddy Combs, which made his response stand out even more. Until that moment, Will had largely stayed silent on any speculation involving Diddy, choosing not to engage publicly. Observers pointed out that Will's denial carried a different tone than usual. While he rejected the claims outright, some felt his response appeared tense and unusually cautious, as if he was aware of how serious and damaging the allegations could become if left unchecked. His choice to speak up at all suggested that the situation had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. To many watching closely, it seemed clear that the growing controversy had rattled him. The combination of legal disputes, resurfaced rumors, and high-profile names created a level of pressure that forced Will to respond, even if doing so meant stepping into an uncomfortable spotlight. As the story continued to circulate, his reaction only fueled further speculation, with critics and supporters alike dissecting every word for signs of concern or fear. As of now, both Will and Jada maintain that the allegations are untrue, and no evidence has been presented publicly to support the claims. Still, the moment marked a rare break in Will Smith's silence on the subject, signaling just how serious the situation had become behind the scenes.
The world we're in right now, it's really hard for y'all to discern what's real and what's true, you know? And I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. People be making memes. I see the memes. I see them now. Some of that stuff is funny. Some of it's funny. But I haven't addressed any of this publicly, but I just want to say this very clearly. I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all them memes. Stop all of that. I ain't been nowhere near no damn freak off. Listen, I do enough of my own. Don't be putting me in other people's. I ain't been nowhere near that, man. I ain't did none of that stupid. So, whenever y'all hear it, if somebody say that, it's a damn lie. I don't even like baby oil. That's not funny. I haven't said that publicly. I just said y'all the first time. I usually don't respond to dumb stuff because it's like people. It's so many things people say, so much stuff. But you know that one, it was your memes was doing too much. Y'all was having me mad.
While Will Smith released carefully worded public statements denying the accusations, Jada Pinkett Smith allegedly took a much more aggressive approach behind the scenes. According to reports and online commentary, Jada began issuing strong warnings, appearing in interviews and telling multiple outlets that legal action was imminent. She allegedly claimed that lawsuits were being prepared and that cease and desist letters would put an end to Bilal's statements once and for all. However, despite the public threats and legal language, no lawsuit was ever filed. No court case followed, and no formal action appeared to materialize. This raised a major question among observers. If the claims were completely false, why didn't Will or Jada take Bilal to court? According to those pushing this narrative, the answer lies in what a lawsuit would actually require. Taking the matter to court would mean legally proving that Bilal was lying under oath. And, as the story goes, Bilal was not simply spreading rumors or repeating secondhand gossip. He allegedly possessed more than just shocking stories. He claimed to have direct involvement, first-hand knowledge, and additional details that could complicate any legal battle. This is where Bryce Gray allegedly becomes central to the situation. According to Bilal's claims, his role in Will Smith's life extended beyond friendship or assistant duties. He alleges that Will hired him to look after Bryce Gray and placed him in charge of overseeing his well-being and daily affairs. During that time, Bilal claims he uncovered information that no one outside the inner circle was supposed to know. Those familiar with Bilal's stance argue that he is not someone who can be easily intimidated into silence. Rather than reacting immediately to threats, Bilal reportedly waited nearly a full year for Jada's promised lawsuit to materialize. When it became clear, at least in his view, that no legal action was actually coming, he decided to stop waiting and take control of the narrative himself. At that point, Bilal allegedly began sharing even more claims about Will Smith, stories he had previously kept private. According to his version of events, what he discovered while overseeing Bryce Gray revealed deeper layers of control, secrecy, and behavior that he believes the public deserves to hear about. None of these allegations have been proven in court, and all involved parties have denied wrongdoing. Still, the absence of legal action, combined with the escalation of claims, has fueled widespread speculation about why the situation was never formally challenged and what might come out next as the story continues to unfold.
He's out there allegedly with male prostitutes. He's pissing in the trailer. He's acting psychotic, right?
The same thing he's doing now.
Beyond that. But this is why a show is going on, right? So I'm like, I pull him to the side, right? And I said, listen, I'm here to help you and so forth and so on. So he was like, all right, I feel that. He said, everybody on the set know you. Everybody seem like they love you. Okay. I want to love you because everybody else love you. I said, if that's what you want to do, then do it. But he kept acting up. And then one day I said, what the F is wrong with you? And he was like, you know. He said, you know, Will me. You know, Diddy made me suck his penis. You know what's going on. You know, Charlie made me suck. And I said, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. So he crying, no blood is coming from his nose. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I'm like, yo, listen. So I grabbed my hug. I said, listen, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. Nothing. I was just asked to come. Is this true? Yeah. No, I'm gonna let you. You about to see if it's true from the paperwork. Oh, we telling something that got paperwork involved. Let me get to the paperwork. So at this point, I'm crying because I feel his pain. Like I can kind of tell when somebody phony and all, but it was the pain where the snot was coming out his nose. His nose was bleeding. He in the corner screaming, balled up, right? Like I could feel his pain, like he had been raped, like he had been forced to do something. You understand what I'm saying? So I said, well, listen, let me find out what's going on. He said, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Right? So I'm like, Yaz, I'm like, yo, just relax. I said, everything gonna be okay, you know? And he was like, no, they gonna get me if I say something. They gonna get me if I, like
According to the narrative being pushed by Bilal, the situation did not rely solely on Bryce's version of events. Bilal claims that Will Smith himself privately acknowledged that Bryce's account was truthful. As Bilal tells it, Will allegedly confided in him during a moment of concern, admitting that what Bryce was saying was not fabricated. According to this alleged confession, Will explained that the situation began as a consensual sexual relationship between himself and Bryce Gray. However, Bilal claims Will went on to say that the dynamic changed at a critical moment. Bryce allegedly asked Will to stop, signaling discomfort or withdrawal of consent. Despite that request, Will is said to have continued anyway. Bilal alleges that Will admitted he knew crossing that line was wrong. According to this account, that realization is what caused Will to become increasingly anxious about the situation and its potential consequences. Bilal claims Will understood that if Bryce ever chose to speak publicly, the story could not simply be dismissed as rumor or misunderstanding. As described by Bilal, this alleged admission placed Will in a state of fear and uncertainty, especially given Bryce's emotional state and the power imbalance between them. Bilal argues that this is why efforts were allegedly made to control the narrative and keep the situation from becoming public. It is crucial to emphasize that these claims are based entirely on Bilal's statements and have not been independently verified. Will Smith has denied wrongdoing, and no legal findings have supported these allegations. Nevertheless, Bilal's assertion that Will privately acknowledged Bryce's version of events has become one of the most serious and controversial elements of the story, raising questions about consent, accountability, and what may have been happening behind closed doors.
Guy crazy or what's happening? So I end up telling Charlie Mack, and he said, I'm on my way out there. I'm on my way out there. And then he said, hold on, Will wants to talk to you. So I said, okay, no problem. So now he said Will wanted to talk to him once Charlie Mack got out there. So he wouldn't talk to me when I was on my phone. So whenever I talked to Will about sensitive topics, Charlie would meet up with me, call Will, whatever number he called, then put me on the phone on Charlie's phone, not from my phone, right? So Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right? So I'm like, okay, so now it's starting to make sense, because I would have never believed that the way this guy's acting, something had to happen. So now Will told me, and this is going to be in paperwork and everything, right? So when Will told me that he did have sexual intercourse with Bryshere, he said Bryshere did ask him to stop. Will said he completed the act, then stopped. Right then and there, when a person say stop, that means stop. Period. So I do believe that Will Smith sexually assaulted Bryshere Gray. Period.
I was not expecting any of this.
I know you.
The rumors of Will Smith being gay and having gay relations with who was it with?
Diddy.
I know, right? Hold on. So apparently Will's assistant, which I don't know if this is true or not. I mean, the whole thing sounds fishy because the same guy tried to interview on my platform and I said no, but he claims he saw Will Smith with Dwayne Martin.
Oh yeah.
I know. I know nothing about this. This is crazy.
I mean, well, you should interview Tisha
Campbell, who was married to Dwayne Smith. That'd be an interesting interview.
Wouldn't it?
It would. You know her?
I do.
All right, let's make some phone calls.
I don't know. But I mean, and then there's, what would be said and what wouldn't be said. But, I heard more rumors about Dwayne than Will.
Oh, you heard rumors about Dwayne? Oh. I heard some rumors about Will and Jada, which I won't mention because I'll get sued. But I've heard some rumors.
What reportedly intensified the situation for Will Smith was the timing of everything. Just months before these claims began circulating, Will had publicly announced that he planned to personally mentor Bryce Gray, presenting the relationship as a supportive, career-guiding opportunity. At the time, the announcement was framed as an act of generosity, an established star taking a younger talent under his wing to help him navigate the industry. According to critics of the situation, that public declaration only made the later allegations more troubling. They argue that once someone positions themselves as a mentor, the power imbalance becomes even more pronounced. Any private involvement that follows, they claim, raises serious ethical questions, especially if the younger person later says boundaries were crossed. Some commentators have drawn comparisons to Sean Diddy Combs and his past relationship with Justin Bieber. In that case, Diddy also publicly announced that he would mentor Justin early in his career. Over time, accusations and rumors emerged online suggesting that the mentorship crossed inappropriate lines. While those claims remain disputed and unproven, the similarities in the public mentor narrative have caused many to view both situations through the same lens. To critics, these parallels highlight what they describe as a deeper, systemic issue within Hollywood. They argue that mentorships, especially when highly publicized, can sometimes become shields that mask unhealthy dynamics. When powerful figures control access to opportunity, fame, and protection, younger actors may feel unable to speak up or walk away, even when something feels wrong. Again, it's important to stress that these are allegations, comparisons, and opinions, not legal conclusions. No court has ruled that Will Smith engaged in misconduct related to mentoring Bryce Gray. However, the combination of public mentorship announcements and later accusations has reignited broader conversations about exploitation, consent, and the responsibility powerful figures have when guiding young talent in the entertainment industry. For many observers, the story isn't just about one individual. It's about whether Hollywood has done enough to prevent mentors from abusing their influence, and how often these situations only come to light years after the damage is already done.
I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style, bitch. Fuck you. And Charlie, you happy now? He's a gay porn star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. Fuck you! You fucking CI bitch! I'm sorry. That bitch came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the fuck away from Charlie. I did everything that I could to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a drug dealer's.
According to the version of events being circulated by commentators close to the situation, the controversy doesn't stop with Bryce alone. The claims suggest that, much like the narratives that later emerged around Justin Bieber and his parents, Bryce's family was allegedly aware of what was happening behind the scenes while their son was under the influence of powerful industry figures. Those advancing this narrative allege that Bryce's parents knew about his relationship with Will Smith and were allegedly aware of the environment he was being placed in. According to these claims, Will not only maintained close access to Bryce, but also allegedly invited Sean Diddy Combs into Bryce's orbit, creating a situation where multiple powerful figures were present around a much younger and less established individual. The most troubling accusations focus on Bryce's mother. According to outspoken commentator Jaguar Wright, she personally spoke with Bryce's mother about what was allegedly happening. Jaguar claims she warned her directly and laid out concerns about exploitation and abuse of power. However, according to Jaguar's account, Bryce's mother showed little interest in intervening. Jaguar Wright alleges that Bryce's mother ignored the situation entirely, prioritizing financial gain over her son's well-being. According to this claim, as long as money was coming in and opportunities continued to appear, the warning signs were dismissed or brushed aside. It is critical to emphasize that these statements are allegations made by third parties and have not been proven in court. Bryce's parents have not publicly confirmed these claims, and those accused have denied wrongdoing or declined to comment. Still, the accusations have fueled intense debate online about parental responsibility, industry pressure, and how often warning signs are allegedly ignored when fame and money enter the picture. For many observers, these claims, whether proven or not, raise deeply uncomfortable questions about who is supposed to protect young talent in Hollywood, and what happens when the people closest to them allegedly choose silence instead.
To figure out the situation, you need to help us verify what you're telling me.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Up first tonight, we're following breaking news in the arrest of Bryshere Gray, one of the stars of the hit show Empire. Tonight, we're seeing hours of new video from his July arrest that ended with his wife flagging down police and telling them the actor had assaulted her for hours inside their Goodyear home. The bizarre jailhouse interview lasting for 2 hours as they try to piece together.
To many observers, this situation feels uncomfortably familiar. Commentators have begun saying that what's happening now mirrors what later emerged in the case of Justin Bieber. They argue that the same warning signs are appearing all over again, just with different names and a different timeline. According to Bilal's claims, the period when Will Smith was allegedly mistreating Bryce Gray lines up closely with the time when Bryce was spiraling publicly. During that stretch, Bryce was reportedly dealing with repeated legal trouble, frequent run-ins with law enforcement, and highly visible personal chaos. To some, that pattern doesn't look random. People making this comparison point to Justin Bieber's past as an example. Years after his own public breakdown, marked by arrests, reckless behavior, and erratic decisions, Justin openly admitted that much of his acting out was driven by pain and a desperate need for attention. He has said that he didn't know how to process what he was dealing with privately, so it spilled out in destructive ways publicly. Those drawing parallels suggest Bryce may have been going through something similar. They argue that when young people are placed in high-pressure environments, surrounded by powerful figures and unable to speak openly about what's happening to them, their trauma often shows up as self-destructive behavior. Legal trouble, substance issues, and public meltdowns, they say, can be symptoms rather than causes. Again, it's important to stress that these are interpretations and allegations, not confirmed facts. Bryce has not publicly laid out a full account in the way Justin eventually did, and Will Smith has denied wrongdoing. Still, the overlapping timelines, alleged abuse followed by legal chaos, have led many to believe they are watching a familiar cycle repeat itself. For critics of the industry, the bigger concern isn't just one person or one story. It's the idea that Hollywood continues to allow young talent to unravel in public, only for the deeper reasons behind their behavior to surface years later, after the damage is already done.
I was leaving, and he started telling everybody on set what was going on, that I knew that Will and Diddy allegedly raped him. Okay, so now I got to get my lawyers involved. Now we come to paperwork, right? So I let him know that I was going to sue him. That's number one.
So
To sue Yaz, because two things happened. Number one, the money he was supposed to pay, he didn't pay me, because Will was going responsible for the bulk payment. Then he was going around telling people I knew about these sexual assaults against him, you know? And so what happened with that was the lawyers got involved. Then Charlie and Will arranged a lawyer for Bryshere. So they was telling me, like, look, B, let this thing go. So I'm not letting nothing go. And this is to Will and Charlie allegedly telling them that I need an NDA from this dude. Because this dude, whatever y'all got me involved in, is something dangerous and filthy and diabolical. So they was like, well, we can't do that. So we'll pay you to sign an NDA with him. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want your filthy money. I want this guy to stop saying that I know that you and Diddy did something to him. Allegedly. So then they came back. My lawyer said, listen, this is the best that I think can happen that will protect you. They will allow a mutual NDA where Bryshere won't say anything about you, nor can you say anything about Bryshere.
but you're talking now.
According to Bilal's account, the situation reached a turning point once Will Smith allegedly realized that Bilal might eventually speak publicly about what he claims to have witnessed involving Bryce Gray. Bilal says that, at that moment, Will attempted to contain the situation by pushing for legal silence rather than confrontation. Bilal alleges that Will asked him to sign a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, which would legally prevent him from speaking about the alleged abuse or any related details. According to Bilal, the request wasn't framed as optional. It was presented as a necessary step to keep everything from escalating further. At that point, Bilal claims he felt trapped. He says he believed that if he refused to sign the NDA and continued talking about what he knew, he could potentially be dragged into legal trouble himself, not as a whistleblower, but as someone accused of knowing about alleged misconduct and failing to report it. In his view, staying silent wasn't just about protecting Will, it was about protecting himself from being labeled an accessory. According to Bilal, this is why the situation allegedly resulted in mutual NDAs being signed. He claims that both he and Bryce Gray ultimately agreed to confidentiality agreements, effectively locking everyone involved into silence. From Bilal's perspective, the NDAs were designed to prevent any version of the story, especially Bryce's, from becoming public. Bilal insists that his claims are not based on memory alone. He alleges that he has retained documents, communications, and paperwork connected to these agreements that support his version of events. While none of these materials have been independently verified or presented in court, Bilal maintains that they exist and could substantiate what he has been saying if the matter were ever legally challenged. As with the rest of this story, these assertions remain allegations. Will Smith has denied wrongdoing, and no criminal charges or civil rulings have confirmed Bilal's claims. Still, the alleged existence of NDAs and supporting documents has become a central point in the controversy, fueling speculation about why silence was prioritized and what might happen if that silence were ever broken.
Now he's saying that Bryshere Gray him directly that he had been essayed by Will and Diddy. That's what Belial is saying. Tell me something. Have you ever heard anybody else say that?
New information.
Have you never heard anybody say that before?
Kids?
Yeah. You never heard me? I could have sworn to God I said it. Back in 2022 when y'all asked me if I was going to see that Fright of a film.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, you did say it. That was
yeah.
a year. That was a year before Belial came to the internet telling wild tales of Dwayne Martin, Howard drilling Will Smith over the edge of a couch.
That's my power driller.
Now he wants to talk about the kids. Because that was funny. He sat down with Tasha K. Apparently, he sat down with Andy Signori over at Popcorn Planet, and apparently he's following the same media trail that he did last time. Now he's self-publishing his book because he couldn't find a publisher to put it out. I Am Whistleblower is the name of the book. What was it? 38 years of Will and Jada. Now he wants to talk about Bryshere Gray. That's funny, nobody was talking about Bryshere Gray but me.
According to Bilal, the situation escalated further when Bryce Gray eventually spoke out publicly, bringing renewed attention to everyone connected to the controversy. At that point, Bilal claims he decided he wanted no part in being dragged deeper into what he describes as other people's personal and legal chaos. Rather than continuing to respond publicly, he chose to step back, at least initially. Meanwhile, Bilal alleges that Jada Pinkett Smith began telling people privately and publicly that he was a liar. According to his claims, Jada repeatedly stated that she intended to sue him, portraying him as someone spreading false and damaging stories. However, despite these repeated threats, Bilal says no legal action was actually taken against him. In Bilal's view, the reason nothing materialized is simple. He believes Jada knew she did not have a viable legal case. While the threats continued, no lawsuit was filed, no court proceedings were initiated, and no formal attempt was made to prove that his statements were false. Over time, Bilal claims the constant accusations and public attacks took a toll. Eventually, he says, he decided to stop waiting and take action himself. According to court records referenced by Bilal, he filed a $3 million civil complaint against Jada on Monday, December 1st, formally bringing the dispute into the legal system. In the filing, Bilal alleges that Jada confronted him in the lobby of the Regency Calabasas Commons in September 2021. He claims that during this encounter, she made explicit threats intended to intimidate him into silence. According to the complaint, Bilal alleges that Jada warned him that if he continued speaking about her personal business, he would end 2021 and suggested that he could either go missing or catch a bullet. Bilal asserts that these statements made him fear for his safety and were intended to silence him through intimidation rather than legal means. It is important to emphasize that these allegations come directly from Bilal's lawsuit and have not been adjudicated in court. Jada Pinkett Smith has denied wrongdoing in related matters, and no judge or jury has ruled on the claims described in the complaint. Still, the filing marked a major shift in the situation, transforming a war of words and public threats into a formal legal battle with serious accusations on the record.
Violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment while on tour with Smith. Brian King Joseph filed the lawsuit in California earlier this week, accusing Smith of deliberately grooming him for sexual exploitation. Joseph says the two began spending time alone together during Smith's tour, and he says Smith allegedly told him that they had a, quote, special connection. It also details an alleged traumatic series of events, that's a quote, including Joseph finding that someone had allegedly entered his hotel room while he was not there. After reporting the incident to police, he alleges a representative for Smith accused him of lying and fired him. Smith denies these.
We've seen similar stories play out before in the entertainment world. The public watched as Sean Diddy Combs faced allegations that shook his reputation, and later, Justin Bieber went through his own very public struggles, which he eventually admitted were fueled by personal pain and mismanagement of influence. Now, observers and commentators are asking the same question about Will Smith. Could he be next in a series of high-profile scandals that exposes alleged misconduct in Hollywood? Whether these claims end up being tested in court or continue to unfold in the public eye, one thing seems undeniable. The situation has moved far beyond idle gossip. The allegations involve serious legal filings, personal testimonies, and accusations of abuse that, if proven, could carry lasting consequences for all involved. For many, this serves as a reminder that no amount of fame, influence, or carefully managed public image can completely contain the truth. Over time, stories have a way of surfacing, even if those implicated try to keep them hidden or dismiss them as rumor. And as history has shown with other high-profile figures, when allegations like these emerge, they tend to spark intense public scrutiny, legal battles, and long-lasting debate about accountability, power, and trust in the entertainment industry.